Today we're starting on time this week.
Got rarity for us.
Rarity, yeah. We have a cool episode coming for you. We've got a special guest, Wanee from Pitfit Training, coming on in just a little bit here. But yeah, we're going to talk about training and kind of all the stuff we do in the off season and during season to prepare once he comes on. But kind of catching up. It's a little over a week away from my first IndyCar race, the second race of the full season. So Darren and I are both pretty excited. We're in full swing getting ready.
Yeah, haven't we? We've been down at the shop several times already and everything. So talking with the engineers, getting your seat tweaked up, seat belts, earphones, race suit, everything. It's been. We can talk maybe a little bit about that as well, right? There's a lot
selfie in the car yesterday.
Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, you had to tweak the seat a little bit. From your tricep was hitting on the seat. Your new earpieces with the accelerometers in there, which go to a black box to see if you do wreck. Unfortunately, they want to know how many G-forces the head pulls compared to the car to try and make the car safer, as well as keep the body and mind safe. So you had these nice long ones and the radio coming out of the bottom of your zipper of your suit and everything. Then we sort of been tweaked.
Yeah, and they've actually kind of changed things from last year, because typically the helmet, got the radio coming out. I think the kit's out of this one. Oh no, there it is. Usually the radio comes out the side and you kind of click it in around here. You fit your headphones, just come to a jack here. But now this year and last year, the IndyCar guys, they've actually gone to like Darren said, the cord goes all the way down and then comes out the bottom of your zipper, I guess, to kind of keep all the faff away from the helmet and kind of clean things up a bit. Keeps it a little simpler, and it lets you kind of plug it in a little easier in the car, which makes it nice. But like I said, we've got the headphones with the accelerometers, and I don't have them with me. They're back at the shop, but they, like I said, they basically just log kind of biometric data, which is pretty cool. But they're huge because they've got tri-axis accelerometers in them, so they can be a little uncomfortable. You got to kind of really work with the series to just get them profiled right, so the helmet doesn't press hard. But that'll be something that just a thing to get used to. But yeah, and then obviously with 3 people sharing the 14 car, it's kind of a game of musical chairs, getting everything set up, because we each have our own seats. We each have the pedal configuration, steering column length, height, different steering wheels, grips, pedals, the whole thing, right? So the whole car has to get changed over. It's a bit of a process.
And they take measurements, of course, but when you set it back to exactly the same measurements, not always it's exactly the same. You might have grown a little bit, and this is probably what we're going to talk about with Alex. Comes on from Pit. You bulk up, you're skinny down, you're doing cardiovascular stuff, you're doing weight training. Your body fat is probably one of the lowest of anybody that I know. But you are changing in size pretty much. I remember back in the day when I was, for sure.
Darren's Atlantic Cat says you have an echo and volume issue. We're back to that again. Huh.
Oh. It's yours or mine?
How's that? Is that better? I have to hop off for a sec. Something's going on outside. My dog's freaking out.
Dalton with Poppy always giving a freak out, and I can't on my voice. So we do always. I can't control anything. So we're gonna have to wait Dalton to get back to try and figure out. One second, everybody. Alex, hold on as well. Can you hear Dalton in the background?
Yeah. I didn't know you were back. Somebody was at the door.
Nicole's back.
Okay, sorry about that. Cole came back early from kickball night, and Poppy was freaking out. I thought somebody was breaking into the backyard or whatever. Okay, is Darren's audio fixed? Are we all good? Do you sound better?
Nobody said anything yet.
Okay, well, hopefully.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3. Everybody hear me okay?
Turn your mixer down.
No.
Here.
I can hear that echo as well, yeah.
How about that? I've turned his mixer down. Is that better? Oh, Poppy's back. Jeez. Hi, Poppy.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Still echoing.
It might be because, Darren, you know what it probably is that you don't have headphones on because you're speaking when it plays the audio. It's playing out of your speakers and then it captures it through your mic. So you have to get some headphones for next time probably. But
all right. We'll do.
We'll fix that for next time. Anyway, back on track.
I'll talk less.
Yeah, Darren will talk less. Minor diversion. Poppy's freaking out because Nicole's leaving again. But yeah, so basically we've got Alex coming in, and we're gonna roll a little promo video. I got a little Rocky training montage we put together. Some old video and stuff from training. So Pitfit basically is a gym where a bunch of drivers such as myself train, and
give me another 15 seconds. You got 15 seconds.
They've been going at it for probably over 20 years.
Come on. Stay with it.
Run down and all that. See in the background doing a VO2 max test. Ab workouts there. That's Alex on the left there. We're doing a little workout. Poppy's hidden behind the green block there. Alright, there's Alex. Let's unmute him. Alright, Alex, say hi.
How's it going, guys?
I'm gonna be talking low. Apparently I'm echoing like a crazy person.
Thanks, Stoke Race. Gonna tweet at the Twitch link. Appreciate that. But yeah, we got some. So you can see we got people making fun of me for my pants on this back. Full climber mode. I don't know. I feel like if you're deadlifting 4 plates, then you can wear whatever you want, right?
That's fair.
Yeah. So we were doing some run bike bricks here at IMS. Sorry, Darren. And then so that was last summer, I was practicing for a duathlon, and I was trying to practice putting the shoes on the bike and then kind of running and hopping and then slipping my feet in the shoes, and it didn't really go too well. Apparently what you have to do is not Velcro, you get rubber bands and put them around the frame and then hold the back of the shoe up with the rubber band, and you slide your foot in, and it just snaps the band as you pedal, and it keeps them flat so you can easily get in. That's the trick, apparently. This was a cool one. We gotta bring this back. That was cool.
Oh yeah.
This was yesterday.
Yeah. Yesterday.
The 10K rower thing. That was torture.
Yeah. I'm just glad Jim hopped in, so I didn't have to.
Jim Lee on the left there. Darren and Jim. All right.
I was working out with Jim before you came on board, wasn't I?
Yeah, alrighty, so there's our little promo. So Alex, introduce yourself, kind of talk about Pitfit, and give us I guess first off, how long have you been with Pitfit for?
So I've been with it 7 years. Actually, I think you were one of the first drivers I might have worked with there. I know we've been working together my entire time there. So.
And you guys have always been based in Indy?
Yes. So Jim Lee started the company back in a little over 20 years ago. And then he's grown it over the years. Developed guys from lower levels up to IndyCar. Guys like Dixon, Charlie Campbell, James Hinchcliffe. And I was lucky enough to just kind of stumble upon hearing about Pitfit and got an internship there, and then just kind of fell in love with it right away, and then went from intern to independent contractor to now part owner in the company and performance director. So it's been quite a journey.
So what's your background? Like if someone wants to get into the training world, but motorsports training, what do you have to go to school for?
Yeah. So I graduated with a degree in exercise science. So something like that, physiology, something along those lines.
Copy that. And Darren, so you actually, back when you were doing IndyCar, you worked out with Jim in kind of the early days of the Pitfit program.
Yeah, big time. It was just Jim, and we kind of went and outsourced to other people, and he took us boxing, and kind of kept bringing people in, and then obviously, realized that there was enough of a demand, I guess, to bring somebody like Alex on board full time. Yeah, Scott. I think Scott and I were a couple of Jim's first. Scott's still going strong, but I loved it. It was. You need to be fit to drive these cars. You need to be strong. I love what you guys have done to advance it from just working out. I love the diversity of boxing, running, biking, training for triathlon. I love all that. And all the things that you guys do now with the reaction training, you're bringing, as we're all, with the engineers and team trying to get that extra little bit and develop and maybe shots better, maybe this better, maybe understand the tires better. You guys are understanding the body and mind and vision a lot better and making these guys, true athletes for racing. I love it.
Yep. It's a great gig. I can't complain about it.
Sorry, Anne from the team was just texting. So Darren, do you have? She's asking about the Echo too. Do you have a? Did you have a set of AirPods you could put in?
I'm trying, but I can't connect them.
Do you have any, Alex? Do you have any headphones? You and Darren are both getting Echo.
Gotcha. Let me try. I tried before we went on and wasn't pairing.
Yeah, I struggled to pair. Don't tell us how to pair them.
You'd probably have to go into your Bluetooth settings, and it should show up, and then you go to audio when you on the taskbar. Open, right click on the speaker, and there'll be it should be audio settings. I think it's called. What's it called? Right click. Open sound settings. And then choose your output to whatever your AirPods are called. Sorry for the interruption, but everyone needs to be able to hear, right? That's the important thing. Desktop audio, what if I turn that off? Key on mic. Well, these guys are trying to connect there, so you can see up on the right, I've just got a little rolling slideshow of some pictures from training at Pitfit over the years. This one here is from their old facility up on 86th Street. They can hear, they're just hearing it twice. Okay. Peculiar.
How's the echo now?
Let me unmute.
From my end.
You're unmuted. All right. You should be fine. Let me know how Alex sounds, if anybody in the comment wouldn't mind. Better. Okay, so you're
awesome.
You're better, Alex. That's fixed.
How did you get your AirPods working?
It took a few tries connecting.
Through Bluetooth?
Not my area of expertise.
I'll keep quiet.
Well, we can hear Alex. He's
that would be
the
a
star
first,
of the
Darren.
show. Alrighty, so let's get back to athlete. Okay, so Darren sounds better now too. Awesome. I
Awesome.
changed something on my end on the sound mixer, so I think we might have fixed it. Yeah, so I think one of the misconceptions that we really have to fight as race car drivers, driver athletes, right, is that we are athletes, and that the physical demand of what we're doing is very high. Alex, walk us through what is the body subjected to, like during a 2.5 hour IndyCar race.
I mean,
it's a big question.
Really.
Yeah.
It is a big question. So, the way we kind of look at it is there are 3 areas of performance demand. Obviously, the first is going to be physiological, or the physical portion of it, and the second part is going to be cognitive or psychological function. So, your mental state will have an effect on performance, obviously, how well you can process things in the car, and then environment as well, which is extremely unique to motorsports. So, in your conventional, like football, basketball, baseball, soccer, obviously you have the physiological demands and you have the psychological and cognitive demands, but the environmental demands really stand out in motorsport. So not only are you guys performing in front of a lot of people, like in any major sport, but you have to deal with things like heat, like in Texas, where track temp was 130 or something at the start of the race. You're wearing a fire suit, so it's pretty hot.
In a closed cockpit, you've got fireproof underwear on. Nobody wears what we wear and works out. And in a closed cockpit.
For sure.
And with your butt scraping on the track.
Yeah, so there's that. There's the noise. There's the fact that really every time you go out there, you're kind of putting your life on the line. You're living life over 200 miles per hour. And that's that's a huge. That's actually a really big difference in the psychological, cognitive side of things as well. Being able to overcome that innate fear of death or the potential of it. So I think, unfortunately, all of us know some guys that have either been, seriously injured in accidents or even, sadly lost their lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I just quickly on that point, I broke my back in 2005. I had a compression fracture in T5, 6, 7, right between my shoulder blades. The position that the driver is sitting in is so laid back. It's like you're laying in the bath with your feet on the taps. I always tell people, and I went backwards into the wall.
That is such a British way to explain that.
In the bath. Nobody has a bath over here.
No.
But, you guys, Jim, for sure, we worked with the league and myself, and they're like, get that back brace off. Jim was like, let's build the muscle around that back to support it. And we did specific training just to get that area of my back stronger. I couldn't believe it when we were doing it, and I've never had a back problem since. It's been perfect.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that is exactly, what Jim set out to do, is to make drivers safer in the car. So obviously, there are some accidents that just can't be avoided, and you have no control over it. But if somebody is, physically, physically 100%, the car is not too much physical stress for them. They're able to handle the cognitive demands. They're less likely to make an error that could end up in, a bad situation. And then also, being, more physically fit is going to reduce the risk of severity, or reduce the severity potentially of an injury. And it's also going to help expedite the recovery process, so you can get back in the car quicker.
Perfect.
Yeah, and just
maybe you can talk a little bit, Dalton, about you being like your first time in an IndyCar, right? Coming from Indy Lights, your goal was always to get to IndyCar, and your goal with Alex was always to get yourself fit enough to be able to, your first time in an IndyCar, it's not overwhelming physically because the demands are that much higher in an IndyCar than an Indy Lights car. So you talk a little bit about that and how you felt with regards to how you weren't worried about how tired you were or how heavy it was or how demanding it was. You could just concentrate on your technique.
Yeah, I think that for me, that's one of the biggest things when we're talking about, physical training and being mentally and physically prepared. It's like if you get, I always say this, like if you get you do a workout and you get up into the red, right? Like your heart rate's way high and you're not really recovering. It's like mentally, that's when you start to break down, right? It's like and if you get to that point in the car, either too quick or too easily, or you can't recover on the straightaways or in pit lane, when you're coming for stops and all that, that's going to hamper your performance. And it's like for the longest time, Alex, at the old Pitfit facility, you guys have since moved to a new, awesome, bigger space. But at the old place, I think you had that Vince Lombardi quote, right? Fatigue makes cowards of us all, kind of thing. And it's so true, right? It's like when you get to that point where you're just physically done, that's when the bad decisions and your reaction time goes down, and mentally, some people might start giving up and all that. So you have to push yourself.
Doing,
it's
right?
like if you have to concentrate on your body handling it, then you're just taking mental power away from driving and technique. And if you can do the same job on track, right, at a lower kind of perceived exertion rate, then I think your cognitive ability throughout the race is going to be at a higher average level, which is basically what you guys are trying to achieve, right, Alex?
100%, yeah. If I could put my goal for the training process into just a few words, it would be that, our goal for you is to be able to go out and execute your skill at 100% from lap 1 until the end of the race. So that's where, that our job is to handle the physical preparation side of things. But then when we're talking about performance, there's also the tactical and technical preparation side of things. So, that's where guys like Darren come in and your engineers and things like that. So we're just making sure that, everything on our end is tied up so that you're, not falling out of the seat.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, our job is to just make sure that, when you're, 2 hours into a race in a place like Texas where it's super hot, super physical, you're still operating at 100%.
Yeah, and that's the name of the game, right? Because especially at the IndyCar, pro level, it's like the incremental benefit, right? Is like you're at the top of the pyramid, right? And it's any little advantage you can get. The races are so tight, qualifying's so tight. Everyone's so good in pit lane. Like you need that every little advantage, which is why we see. In that picture, there's 6 IndyCar drivers, two of which have won the 500. That's why people train there, and that's why we have to work hard. That's a big part of it. I don't know. Actually, we've got a question from the comments. So, Alex, what's the most weight you've heard of a driver losing during a race?
So in a race like Texas, let's take a average weight of a guy, probably somewhere between 150, 160. You could lose 3 to 5 pounds of water weight, which, at about 2% of your body weight, once you've lost 2% of your body weight through sweat, it seriously starts to reduce reaction time and impair your decision-making processes. So, as far as how we, prepare for that, it's, we do some heat training to prime your guys' thermoregulatory processes, or how well you handle heat. Hydration is another thing. So making sure that you're going into the race well hydrated, you've gotten the right amount of electrolytes. It's going to help you retain that water throughout the race. And then also, the cognitive training, the reaction training. So we want your reaction, times and your mental capacity to be more than you'll ever need. So that way, if you do have a slight decrease, you're still, operating at a high enough level to continue to execute your skills, your tactics at 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of the things that when I was training with you guys in the, I guess I've been with you all since the second year I was doing USF 2000, Pro Mazda, Indy Lights.
You were in university still, weren't you?
Still in university, yeah. And actually, you guys work with a lot of drivers that aren't Indy based. You have the Pitfit online program. Shout out to that. You guys will actually coordinate with people to give that, through the Team Builder app, right? You'll populate their workouts and they can input, what weight they're doing and reps and all that. And then you track their progress. And that's basically what, at the time it was, I think we were using Training Peaks was the previous iteration of that. But same kind of effect, and it was basically I had my workouts, which I actually printed out. I'd actually print out my paper workout with a little picture and things. Yeah. Bring that to the gym, like the nerd that I was, and do my workouts and write down my reps and everything. But yeah, my point was that at every level the goal was to kind of be prepared enough for the next level, right? And it's like at the lights level you want the guys to be at the necessary level to be ready to race IndyCar, because it happens pretty often. Guys get called up, and you have that one-time shot, and you got to be
ready.
You got to be ready.
Yeah.
So another question from the comments: which Alex, are race car drivers hard to train? A lot of egos in the room.
Drivers hard to train. No, actually, I mean, like.
Now the question wasn't which race car drivers are hard to train.
Which race car driver? Tony Kanaan.
Pig-headedness. He's a stubborn one.
So slowing him down and keeping him from doing too much.
Yeah, keeping him off the bike for more than an hour.
More than an hour. Like, if I can keep him under 3 hours, that's a successful day.
Yeah, Tony is he's one of the guys that's sharing the or I guess I'm sharing the 14 car with him. It's really his car, right? And he is a bike fiend. Well, he's a bike running training fiend. He kind of got me into cycling, and we ride with.
You got everybody into cycling.
Yeah, it just.
Dixie's pretty well into it as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Going back to how much you'd lose in the races and hydration and everything. A good point is, the IndyCar drivers have all got a drink bottle, right? So probably a liter or whatever that you've got at your access to have. You press a button on the steering wheel, it shoots a drink into your mouth, so you pretty much drink that the whole race. I used to just like to keep my mouth from drying out rather than drink. But yeah, I remember 6-7 pounds. Sometimes I'd lose even after drinking during the whole race. Texas, probably an IRL race when it was crazy hot.
Yeah.
Well, and another thing to point out is a lot of the time the drink systems fail. So, like, I know Alex Rossi had to go through the whole Texas race without his drink bottle. So, we got to prepare for the worst situation possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely happens. So, coming up this next weekend, we've got the GMR Grand Prix, which is historic, right? First IndyCar and NASCAR doubleheader. You guys work with some NASCAR drivers, correct?
Yeah, right now we're working with William Byron. We have an affiliate facility down in Charlotte. That's definitely an area that we're looking to expand in the near future.
Yeah. So, obviously we're both top level professional series, but how is training a guy for NASCAR different than IndyCar, or is it the same? Is it the same program, or do they have specific challenges with the way that their cars are?
So it's definitely not the same, and that's another unique thing about motorsports is you have your stock car, you have your open wheel, you have sports cars, drag racing, USAC, things of that nature. So we deal with a bunch of different guys in a bunch of different series, and the demands are slightly different for each. The cognitive demands are fairly similar, but when it comes to the physiological demands, just comparing NASCAR to IndyCar, NASCAR has power steering. You guys don't. So you guys need to have a lot.
And we're the strong guys.
That.
That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah. No, but upper body strength is more important for an IndyCar driver.
But our races don't go on for 4 hours, and we are in a closed cockpit car, right? So there's definitely
exactly.
They have a big gulp next to them as well.
They do. But the races are incredibly long. Obviously, it's a little bit hotter, and now with the new aero screen, you have the air tube, but at a place like Texas, that's not really going to help. So for all intents and purposes, you're pretty much a closed cockpit at that point. Yeah. So, so that's taken IndyCar to a whole nother level as far as the physiological demands. One area in which NASCAR is a little unique is because it's that closed, confined space, carbon monoxide actually becomes a factor. So basically what carbon monoxide does is as you inhale that, it prevents oxygen from attaching to hemoglobin, which is basically the part of your blood cells that takes oxygen to the muscle. And if your muscles aren't getting oxygen, then you're not going to be able to perform the same amount of work. So so that's something that's a little unique to NASCAR, but, I would say, those guys definitely have to be in fairly good shape, but IndyCar, hands down, in my mind, is the most physical series in the world.
Would you even count, even count an F1? You would still say that holds?
I would, just for the fact that F1 has power steering. Now they're pulling higher G forces, so neck strength is at a higher demand there, and core strength is still important. But as far as IndyCar guys, got to be very, very well balanced. You have to have a certain level of strength. In the smallest package possible. You have to be in very, very good cardiovascular shape. All of you guys that train with us at Pitfit would be considered elite level endurance athletes. So
I think on that note, I remember Ganassi when I was driving with Ganassi back in 04-05. Scott and I, Chip wanted it. He probably still does it now to all their drivers. Every year, every winter, we had to have a fitness test. And one year we went down to IU. Jim took us down to IU, and we did the fitness test. The VO2 max. We, Rocky on the runners, until failure, the bob. All that good stuff. And I remember they couldn't believe, what they were seeing from Scott and I. We were close on a few things. I beat him on a couple. But no, I think we were literally the fittest two people through all their college athletes. Now we're talking runners, track and field, footballers, all this kind of stuff. On a whole, I believe we were like the one and two that they've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Testament to what you're saying about how a racing driver needs to be so well-rounded in every aspect. It's very and you can maybe talk to it a little bit more, Alex. It's kind of difficult to have great lungs and heart as well as strength because it's completely different training, right?
Yeah, so, a big part of it is knowing the point of diminishing returns. So, Dalton needs to be strong, but, if Dalton's bench pressing 400 pounds, it's almost definitely going to come at the expense of his cardiovascular system. Yeah. At the same time, we can't just have him do all cardio. If he's this twig that can go for days and days and has a VO2 max through the roof, but he can't turn the car, he's going to end up in the wall at some point. So, that's where IndyCar is unique in that really almost, there are a couple other sports that require that diversity of demands, but it's very, very few, and IndyCar is definitely one of them.
What would be some of the other examples that you'd think of?
So,
as ridiculous as it might sound, MMA is one that I can see that's, as far as the diversity of demands, and don't get me wrong, they are definitely different. They have, a lot of overlap as far as, in some sports, like if you think about like football, it's 5-6 seconds of the play, and then you have 30 to 40 seconds of the rest. In MMA, it's 5 minutes, and then 5 minutes on, 1 minute off.
Yeah.
So they get a little bit of rest. So they have to be very good with, they have to have tremendous amount of power, they have to have a tremendous amount of endurance, and they have to have a tremendous amount of strength. And it's the same thing with IndyCar guys. And obviously, it's applied a little bit differently, but you guys need to have static strength for going through corners. You need to have dynamic strength as well, so that quick twitch reaction. If the car snaps on you, you got to be able to generate a lot of force really, really quickly to keep the car under control. And then obviously, you guys' heart rates are 85, 95% of max heart rate for a lot of the race. And you don't get really any rest other than yellows and an
10 seconds on pit lane.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a very, very interesting sport, as far as the diversity of demand. So it's really trying to figure out, how much of each trait you need to be in the optimal spot for performance.
One of the things I've found, especially with having multiple years in Indy Lights, it was obviously the first year's hard, and then you kind of get to know where your body's at. And I've always found it's like, at least for me, it's okay. I'll feel okay. You know what? Cardio feels good, but I know I need to work on neck strength, or my shoulders are sore after the race, but my grip strength's okay, or vice versa. And I find that I've always found there's a bit of that, right? It's like you'll do a season, you're like, okay, these are the high points. Like I was strong here, but we need to focus. We need to do a hard push on building up cardio during the off season. So like, how does with the feedback from the drivers, kind of like what is the year of training look like, right? Like, is what we're doing during the off season the same? Is it just the same thing the whole year, or do we kind of tailor it to what for specific goals?
Yes. So obviously, one thing to point out is just another unique thing about motorsports is like I've done some karting in my day, but I never raced at any substantial level. So and I can't go to an IndyCar team and be like, hey man, let me take this thing for a joyride so I can kind of feel what these guys are feeling. Even if they let me, I probably couldn't keep the thing on track anyway. So
you drove my simulator one.
I did. And dude, I was smoked after 10 laps at Iowa. So like I can go out, I can play football, I can play basketball, I can play baseball, soccer. I can experience the physical demands of those sports. I can't personally experience the physical demands of racing. So, that's where the communication aspect comes in, with you guys giving me great feedback and then me kind of translating that into what we need to do in the training process. So, if we, we're definitely doing things differently at different times of the year. In the off season, we can break things down into more general preparation and then more specific preparation. So the general preparation is just basically what are the specific underlying traits that we need to develop. Now, honestly, a lot of you guys are to the point where, there's not a whole lot that we can really push you, but if we can get you 1%, 2% better in that area, you're going to feel a lot better in the car.
Yeah.
We focus on those general traits, and then once we get within a month or two of the season, then we start to get into a little bit more of the specific training, which I think is what we're kind of known for is, some of the sexy stuff that we put out on Instagram.
Those cool crazy driver interval sort of circuit workouts, the Jim Leo specials.
Yeah. So, but I mean, that's just a small portion of the year. It's just you kind of take those general traits that we've built up and then, translate them more specifically towards racing.
That's a classic one on screen right there. That's a Jim Leo one right there. Here, Dalton, get on the surfboard that's on a foam roller and then wave these things in the air.
I think they do. Dalton, I think you're right. I think they just like bloody punishing us.
I think so.
I think that's it. I just realized. He's like, oh yeah, we just like to get feedback from you guys and see how it goes, maybe get you a bit stronger. They just want to make us throw up.
I think so.
Hey,
well,
that throwing up is not the goal. We punish you guys based purely off of science and what you guys need. Your best interest is always.
I know it is.
I can tell Alex had lots of time to think during the quarantine, because when we came back and we were back in the facility, there were some pretty brutal workouts. So he was just sitting there the whole time, like, okay, how are we going to play this? How are we going to absolutely destroy these guys after they've been sitting at home for a few weeks?
I had like an extra 4 hours a day to learn more, so. That's always dangerous.
Yeah, well, and see, that's the great thing about you guys, is that you do a big push to be very up in the literature, and you're always innovating in your training. Let's step back a sec for just talk about the quarantine. So we were out of the facility for, what was it, a couple months, right? And you guys were great. You let us take stuff home. I think I had a rower erg, I had a set of kettlebells, bands, those body blades that you see me using on the screen on the board. So we were able to do some stuff from home, but it wasn't the same as being in the gym. So how did first, as a small business, how did you guys manage through that tough time?
Well, fortunately, we were very, very blessed in that we've developed a very, very strong online training system. So while, again, you don't have access to quite all the things that you have at Pitfit on a day-to-day basis while you were at home during quarantine, we were still able to do a lot of the same stuff. Obviously, we just modified it to your limitations. So we weren't really looking to make gains. It was more so like damage control and just making sure that we maintained everything that you worked so hard for in the off season, so that when you came back, there was going to be like maybe a week or two where we had to kind of get you back up to where you were prior to going into St. Petersburg. We were very, very fortunate in that our online platform, pretty much, it's as close as you can get to having us in your home with you coaching you. So there's videos for everything. We do phone calls with guys if they have trouble to troubleshoot any issues with exercises, video analysis, and things like that. So while it's not quite as seamless, obviously, as the in-person training process, we were able to imitate it, I feel, fairly well, considering the circumstances.
Yeah, I felt that, like I said, I had it started out in my office, but then the simulator came to the office, and then the rower went upstairs, and I had my little small space to work at, but just with 5 or 6 kettlebells and a rower, we were still able to get some really good, hard, tough workouts in. But now we're back at the facility, and you guys did a very thorough job getting the place disinfected and clean, and we're still observing protocols to make sure that we're staying safe. But we're now kind of in the thick of things in season, making sure that we're 100% ready for the next race. Aside from the the kind of IndyCar, NASCAR, Road to Indy driver crowd, who else do you guys work with? Is it just pro drivers, or can anybody come in for a workout or a training session or training program?
Yeah, so obviously a bulk of what we do is the racing side of things, but just like anywhere else, we're training general population. We started up a membership program back in 2017. We've developed that. So, while, people won't be doing quite the same things that you guys do at the same intensities. You know, people can come in and get a program that's specifically tailored to them, get, you know, coaching attention to make sure that they're doing everything right. And yeah, we'll throw in some fun stuff like the reaction equipment, the vision training stuff, you know, just so they get a taste. But you know, we definitely do stuff with other athletes. We have a couple professional hockey players that we work with. You know, and then
Don't you use some of the crews as well, Alex, to help them be fitter over the wall with pit stops?
Yeah. So we haven't worked with anybody yet this year, but we worked with Foyt the last couple of years. You know, I've worked with KB Racing back in the day, Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing back when they were still a thing. So yeah, we've worked with crews pretty much every year I've been here. So
hey, Darren, did you know that one time for a couple races, Alex was it inside rear?
Nice.
No, inside front.
Inside front, yeah.
Yeah. That's like the most memorable part of my career will be changing the inside front on Stephen Wilson's car at the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500. That was pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
Well, good job you had Stefan in the car in the pit stop. He would have looked after you, wouldn't have crushed you up against the pit wall or anything. But
He was great, man. He hit his marks every single time. Made my job easy.
How was that? How was your heart rate on that one?
Actually, like, for the 500 wasn't that bad, because I got to do the first race in St. Pete, and I'll be honest, I was petrified. Especially, like, the first pit stop practice that we did on track, like, man, my heart rate must have been, like, full on, like, redlining. You know, but once you get that first race out of the way, it was actually, like, I was able to kind of sit back and enjoy it and just kind of take it in.
So I've always wanted, kind of getting off topic, but like I've always wondered what's that like, you know, like when you're, because it'd be cool to try it, but scary, right? Like you've got a 1,800 pound like racing machine coming at you at pit lane speeds like 50 miles an hour, I believe, on road courses, trying to go 50 to 0 as fast and late as possible. Pit boxes are super tight, you know, especially on an oval, right? You've got an asymmetric setup, so it's hard to turn one way versus the other, you know. Getting out of your box can be really tough. So, like, what's that like seeing the race car coming at you?
Oh, geez, man. Like, you don't realize how amazing those brakes are until you're on the ground and, you know, the guy's coming into the box with the nose aimed right at you. It's definitely a little scary the first time. And you just gotta trust the driver. So, you know, fortunately, the guys that I changed for were Sebastian Bourdais, obviously a great driver, and Stefan, and they both were great. So you know, I was fortunately pretty comfortable. You know, once I got over the fact that, you know, okay, they're gonna come diving in, like pointing the nose right at me, and just like slam on those brakes and go from 50 to 0 like that.
All right, we got a couple questions from the comments. So going back, okay, kind of to your point about, you know, that we can't really focus on one thing. Because like I think one thing that people do, right, with training is they kind of choose their lane, right? Like you'll have runners, or you'll have triathletes, or you'll have cyclists, or power lifters, weightlifting people, or people that do a type of class, right? That's pretty common. Like a bar, people just do bar, or just do cycle bar, or do yoga or whatever. Whereas for us, we have to be like, you know, certain sports require a more dynamic, a more kind of mixed approach, like you mentioned with MMA, which actually, you know, like a lot of those guys use the iron neck, which you guys do. And that's one of your partnerships, and that's a cool like head neck training device. It's got a swivel and a bearing, and it's attached to its suspension bands, right? So you can kind of put resistance in any angle and do all that, right? Really cool piece of kit, and like for us, neck training is super important. But the question is, you know, how much can you lift, Dalton? So I think my 1 rep PR for deadlift is what, 4. It's over. I think it's like 430 or 440, something like that.
I think it was 440.
Yeah, 440.
If I remember correctly.
That's like 4 plates and a couple little ones or something.
That's a pretty beastly deadlift, man.
Yeah. Definitely
That's
off
pretty
season.
stout.
We definitely aren't doing that during the summer.
Yes.
That's not a summer workout.
Yeah.
That's after like a couple months of deadlifts.
Yeah. That's like middle of the winter.
Yeah.
Just worried about getting strong.
Getting big. Getting big. I'm really not that big. You can see, but a lot of strength in a little package, which is kind of what we're shooting for, right?
That's what we're going for.
And there's the next question. What's the hardest for you to exercise?
Hardest exercise. Well, actually, the hardest exercise, individual piece of equipment that just when I know it's on the roster, I'm like, oh god. Probably the skier or for longer than like a minute would be that stair, the Jacob's ladder.
Jacob's ladder.
I was gonna say that.
Oh, I don't know if I don't have a picture of it, but it's like on a 45-degree angle, and it's like monkey bar rungs on a track. You wear a belt, and as you go up as you climb the ladder with your hands and feet, the belt pulls tension, and that tension releases the brake. So the more you pull out, the easier the rungs will spin. That means the faster you have to go. My God, that thing is just torturous.
It's awful.
It's awful.
Everybody's a pool of sweat underneath them on that one, aren't they, Alex?
Oh yeah.
And then Jim had because it's been there forever, so I'm assuming Jim's idea was he put colored five rows of colored electrical tape on each bar, and then it's like calling out yellow, red, doing this with your hands and trying not to fall off the thing. It's like, holy moly. But we've been doing this 10K skier relay where you get two guys, which is in this rolling picture show here, and every 500 meters you're all done after. Every 500 meters you swap out. And you get about I think our pace is an average like a minute 47 per 500 meters or something like that. So it takes what was our time? 30. Me and Spencer did it in 32.
35,
30,
little under 35, 30.
Yeah, so it was like a 147 average, I think, or something around there.
Sub 147.
Yeah. So that one just hurts. It's just tough. Do we do any yoga or stretching? How does that fit into the program?
Why don't you answer that one, man? You got your routine. You know the deal by now.
Yeah, no. There's a we have our sort of our warm up phase every day. We come in and we have our our resets and our kind of active sort of stretching, getting our bodies ready for the workout. And then there are some releases and stretches afterwards. Do I do them every workout? Maybe not, but I should be more. I should be more proactive with that. For a while, I was actually doing hot yoga with my girlfriend Nicole at a place downtown. But I kind of hurt my shoulder a couple years ago. I was doing back when I was wearing those pants when I was deadlifting in that video. I was doing a lot. Me and Beach were doing a lot of rock climbing, and also golfing, and just like a lot of upper body stuff. And I did something in my shoulder, and it just wasn't right for a couple of years. And it's just, I think with this quarantine, it's actually had time to like chill out, and like the inflammation's gone down, and it actually feels really good. But this is like the least pain. It's the first time in like 2 years my shoulder hasn't been like hurting, which is great. But the hot yoga, there was a lot of like you're doing this kind of stuff and you're balancing on one arm and you're over here, and I was like, I'm gonna like just slip and hurt myself.
Yeah,
maybe I should get back into that. Other questions we got. Darren, one for you. Do you miss doing the workouts? Do you miss training? That was a fast answer.
It's just too bad. It's just too bad you were there before me. I would have really enjoyed working with you, Darren.
Let's see. Last one we got on the comments. Alex, how much dietary help do you do with the racers?
It varies from person to person. So fortunately, a lot of you guys already have very good dietary habits in place. So if somebody's looking to lose weight or gain weight in the off season, then we'll put together a plan for somebody, based off of what their goal is. We'll
We'll fit them with a plan that's going to lay out the amount of calories and macronutrients that they need. And then in season, really the biggest thing is that like hydration plans for races. So, we'll tailor these plans to each specific driver. So obviously, if you have a guy like Alex Rossi versus Zach Veach, there's like a 40, 50 pound difference there. So, they need different hydration plans. So we'll factor in the weather, we'll factor in their weight, how much electrolytes they tend to lose with their sweat, and give them like a schedule, okay, at such and such time, you're going to have this many ounces of water with, this much electrolytes. And, we use a company called Infinite Nutrition. We have a few of our own blends, so that's super beneficial. Great product. Provide some carbs, some electrolytes for them, and we'll just give them a schedule, throughout race weekend, like we will for you next weekend at Indy. Who knows? I haven't seen the forecast, but if it's 90 degrees out there, it's going to be hot. Yeah. So that's definitely going to be a big part of it.
Yeah, no, the hydration is key, and it's like you have to balance not overdoing it, right? Because you don't want to just be drinking nonstop and then having to go to the bathroom during the race or whatever. That's a complete problem. I feel like I'm always like trying to look for the bathroom before the race to make sure that's a mental thing or not. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's all the questions we've got from the comments. If anybody has any questions for Alex, ask them now. We're gonna wrap this up relatively soon here. We've got our contest going, so we're doing a weekly merch giveaway. For this week, it'll be a signed IndyCar official licensed merchandise Dalton Kellett logo shirt, kind of gray heather, so I'll sign that. Got the AJ Foyt logo on the side somewhere right there. That'll go out. So the rules are, everyone that's active in the comments gets thrown in the hat, and then also who comments and tags a couple friends on the Instagram and Twitter posts. So make sure to get your entries in. You can get 3 in if you do Twitch, Instagram, and Twitter. Make your odds better. So we'll announce the winner of that now next week's show. I guess wrapping things up, Alex. Next weekend, first race for me, second race for IndyCar. What kind of stuff do you guys do at track with the drivers? Do you travel with the circus, or is it more support from text and calls and all that, or how does that work?
It depends on the circumstance, obviously, unfortunately,
this
we aren't going to be allowed in next weekend.
Yeah.
But, I'm definitely hoping to be at a few races, especially since we're going to have a lot of double headers. So the recovery process from, like at Road America, the Saturday race into the Sunday race, make sure that you recover properly, from Saturday into Sunday, so you're still 100%. So, that's where more of my like physical therapy background comes in. So we can do some things, whether it's massage or some just basic physical therapy exercises at the track, to help restore any movement, that might've been lost because of like tight muscles or things like that. And then obviously like overseeing, nutrition to some degree, and definitely hydration is a big part of what we do at the track. And then, any race weekend, if I'm not out there, I always make myself available. So guys like Dalton can text me and say, hey man, such and such is going on. And then, I can give them, a simple solution.
Sounds good. Yeah. You guys run a great program. I've been training with you since I think 2011, right? Was the year I think we both kind of started going. We were both there. So
yeah, and I've been part of it since probably 2004, even before you. And I recommend it. All my guys, any other drivers other than Dalton that I work with, I always recommend them to you guys as well. You've had a few of my other drivers through there as well. Yep. Remote programs and here in Indianapolis. So that's all fun.
Yeah, and if for anyone watching, like I said, if you're Indy based looking for awesome gym to train, provide at-home support online. Definitely check them out. And Alex, you mentioned Infinite new nutrition, and they sell stuff that everyone can buy, right? So that's that anyone listening who's looking for an electrolyte protein blend, they have a coffee blend, right, too. It's pretty good.
Yeah. So really, if you want to go to, like, if you're if you drive karts, or even if you're like a runner or an endurance athlete, you can go to the Infinite website and just search Pitfit, and our blends will come up, and it'll kind of give you a description of what each blend is made for. Great products.
Yeah, make sure to check that out. And your other partner, Iron Neck, again, that's an awesome neck training device for any karters, younger racers out there. It's really, we use it all the time in the gym, so definitely a great tool. Alex, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it. Thanks everybody for watching.
Guys.
Hope you all enjoyed the show. See you all next week.
All right, guys. See you later.